Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is GGF bringing you episode 30, the big 30 of Let's Try Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Hope you guys are doing well out there, ready to check out some more Wrath of the Righteous with me. We're having fun. We're in Defender's Heart. Steel, I think, maybe today to break things up. Well, no, I think we'll talk to peeps, get to know other peeps that are in the tavern here. I was going to level up, but I'd rather talk to Seelah. Let's see, we can't talk to Pink Eye for whatever reason. We can't talk to any of these characters. Talk to that one. Alright, let's come up here and say hello to Seelah. Seelah smiles at you warmly. Hey there! During that march through the dungeon, we never got the chance to exchange a proper greeting. It's high time I shake your hand. I'd like to know more about you. Of course, ask anything. I'll answer honestly. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from? I'm a little bit from Geb, a little bit from Katapesh, but mostly from the Knights of Iomade. I was accepted and began my training at 14. I belong to their ranks more than I belong to any other place. You've come to Mendev by a long road, haven't you? A very long one. Seelah looks at you cheerfully. A traveler is expected to have amusing stories. Unfortunately, I have only 3 tales of any interest, and I'd like to save them for our next feast. Otherwise, I won't have anything to show for myself when it's time to start bragging. And that just won't do. Especially since I'll win the night with my cautionary tale of a battle with chupacabras. You can't tempt me with a story about fighting... Wait. Well, I guess what a feast it will be. We'll talk when we celebrate our next victory. I like your attitude. We'll never overcome grief and misery without hope for the better and dreams of brighter days. What made you become a paladin of Iomade? Seelah's gaze sharpens momentarily, then she sighs. That's a serious question and a good one. You should ask it of your companions. But it's a long story. To start with, 12 years ago, I was nothing like the person I am now. I roamed the streets of Solku with the other homeless orphans. I stole, I fought. I was a hired sword for a bit. Not the proper origin for a paladin, is it? Back then, Solku was a city of orphans, widows, and widowers. Gnolls decimated the city regularly. My parents were among their victims. People there heard about new deaths before they'd finished mourning their previous losses. One day, a group of Knights of Iomade brought a glimmer of hope to the city. But while others saw them as saviors and protectors, I was busy pricing up their noble horses and their gleaming mithril armor, wondering just how much one of their pretty swords would fetch. A thief lives one day at a time, that's what they say. I was the type that never thought past the next job. Anyhow, I was able to sneak into the Knights' camp and steal one of their mithril helms. Seelah pauses, her voice sad and measured. And I was right there when a gnoll attacked the helm's owner. Asemi was her name, and dealt a blow to her unprotected head. A gnoll like all those others she'd fearlessly driven from the gates of Solku. That one blow was fatal. But who was really to blame for her death? The gnoll attacker or the young thief named Seelah? Wow. I was just having a moment of deja vu. I felt like I did this before, but I was playing a different RPG. That kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, wait a minute, I've seen this. know what it takes to you couldn't have known the consequence. I know what it takes to survive sometimes. I can't judge you. Well, I can. I believe everyone deserves a chance at redemption, but redemption means you understand what you did and you're willing to be harder on yourself from now on. But you were asking what brought me into the ranks of Iomede's warriors? We all choose the Paladin's path for our own reasons. Some are guided by nobility of spirit, some by a desire to fight injustice. I became who I am through penance and a debt unpaid. The day Asemi died protecting my city, I wanted to kill myself for the terrible guilt I felt. But then I realized it wouldn't make the world any better, and I decided that instead I'd try to take her place. I'd become who she had been, and protect the innocents that she would no longer be able to protect. Wow. What are the principles that Paladins of Iomade follow? Seelah smiles. I'll tell you. I like to recite our code. It feels like I've said it 1,000 times, but it never gets old. There is strength in these words. After a pause, she begins, her voice slow and meditative. I will learn the weight of my sword. Without my heart to guide it, it is worthless. My strength is not in my sword, but in my heart. If I lose my sword, I'll have lost a tool. If I betray my heart, I have died. I will have faith in the inheritor. I will channel her strength through my body. I will shine in her legion, and I will not tarnish her glory through base actions. I am the first into battle and the last to leave it. I will not be taken prisoner by my free will. I will not surrender those under my command. I will never abandon a companion, though I will honor sacrifice freely given. I will guard the honor of my fellows, both thought and deed, and I will have faith in them. When in doubt, I may force my enemies to surrender, but I am responsible for their lives. I will never refuse a challenge from an equal. I will give honor to worthy enemies and contempt to the rest. I will suffer death before dishonor. I will be tempered in my actions and moderate in my behavior. I will strive to emulate Iomede's perfection. That's actually a really cool code. Thank you. I've learned everything I wanted to know. I hope I didn't bore you. Ask me something else if you like. What do you think of what's going on in Canabras? It's complete chaos. It's lucky we're here to handle it, right? Seelah smiles brightly, then she gives you a worried look. Does the way I talk bother you? I know I can seem blasé. Many good people and our protector Terendelev died here in Canabras. A paladin of Iomade is expected to be properly respectful and solemn. We know about Terendelev. But I prefer to face my troubles with a smile and a bit of common sense. Grief is a weapon they'll use against you. It can undermine a warrior's spirit. It's better we hold off on grief until we've driven the last demon and cultist from the city. Oh, I actually like the lawful response. There's wisdom in the traditions of mourning, and one shouldn't reject them. All the more so if inappropriate merriment could offend other mourners. Many people's loved ones perished in Canabras. See, I don't know if I'd really say that, though. I wouldn't necessarily say that just because it's a lawful choice. I'm not bothered by how you talk. What matters is how you fight. Now you're talking sense. Well, you can trust in my sword. Is fighting demons all you want, or are you looking for something more? How about covering myself in glory and becoming the hero of 100 ballads? Or at least a dozen, if they're lively ones. Seelah's eyes shine cheerfully. Anyway, to be more serious, the area around the World Wound is the best place for a paladin who wishes to defend the weak and serve good. Being part of the crusade is reward enough for me, but there's something that worries me. We know about the World Wound and the crusades. I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing my brothers in arms, but the Eagle Watch and the other orders are focused on just one aim, the war against the World Wound. That's why they can sometimes overlook the smaller things, ordinary misfortunes, you know? I always liked being a wandering knight because any moment I could get up and go help a poor rat folk whose family had been kidnapped, or an old woman whose favorite dog had gone missing. So here's my answer. I don't have some big important goal, but I'll be happy to help those who need it, a little bit here and a little bit there. Irabeth said your friend Jana Aldori is missing. Do you know where we should look for her? Irabeth is worried about her fighters. I understand that. I wanted to look for Jana myself so I didn't distract you, but since you're in this too, I could use some help. Jana and I met in Canabras a few days ago and just hit it off. We went drinking together. We went to that unforgettable celebration together too, but we got separated in the crowd. So we should start looking from the main square. That's where I last saw her. Seelah frowns. Jana's a good fighter, even if she is green. She couldn't have become an Aldori otherwise. I hope that means she's alright. Alright, I guess that's everything. Wait, did I learn everything about you? A friend in need is a friend indeed. Yeah. Thanks for speaking with me. Until next time. Seelah smiles. See you! Irabeth. Let's talk to Hilor. A tall, athletic man greets you. His hair is prematurely gray and shorn close to his head in a military style. He is lean and well-groomed, and a monocle twinkles coldly in his eye. The bold set of his jaw and his large but agile frame attest that here is a man who is always ready to be on the move. Greetings, I am Hilor, venture captain of the Pathfinder Society. I'm the superior officer among Pathfinders in this region of Mendev. However, the Society is running almost no operations here right now. Besides me, there are almost no Pathfinders here. Actually, I'm only stuck here because of an old feud with a demon worshipper known as the Spinner of Nightmares. I've had to work alone without the support of the Society, but I've made a lot of acquaintances among the local mercenaries and daring fighters. If you need any good fighters for an honest cause, talk to me. So Pathfinders. The Pathfinder Society is a globe-spanning organization based in Absalom. The membership consists primarily of Pathfinders, adventurers who travel throughout Golarion, usually inconspicuously, and explore, delve, and otherwise experience the lesser-seen parts of the world. They send journals documenting their travels back to their venture captains, who also assign them new missions and suggest new places to explore. The most exciting and illuminating of these journals are compiled in the Pathfinder Chronicles, an ongoing series of books that collect the history and mystery of Golarion for its membership and the general public. That sounds awesome. I hope we can join it. Tell me about your confrontation with the Spinner of Nightmares. It all began with a task of the Pathfinder Society. I arrived in Nerosian with my team to investigate the sudden death of a famous crusader, Baron Falron. We soon focused in on a small hospital for the wealthy, where Falron was being treated shortly before his death. It turned out that a gang of Baphomet's cultists, calling themselves the Labyrinth of Mind, had gotten a foothold at the hospital. Nerosian again, the capital of the crusader state of Mendev. Nerosian is designed first and foremost as a defensive fortification to hold back the endless demonic hordes of the World Wound. Nerosian is also a holy city of Viomade. Many of its notable residents are devout worshippers of Viomade, including Queen Galfrey, the ruler of Mendev. The cruciform cathedral to Viomade is central to both Nerosian's physical structure and the defense of the city. The cathedral also draws faithful pilgrims from afar to worship at this renowned holy site. So back to the hospital. They were obsessed with twisting the minds of their victims and targeted fragile people too weak to resist. The hospital was filled with perfect victims, isolated for weeks from the outside world, completely helpless, and when they returned, they were different, almost normal, but the moment they heard a certain phrase, something dark awoke in their mind, and they transformed into servants of Baphomet, ready to lie, betray, and even kill. The Labyrinth of Mind was preparing to infiltrate all the elite circles in Mendev, but Baron Falron stopped them. He was too loyal to his oath and too resistant to their spells. He fought for his freedom until the strain broke his heart. We opened and cleaned the city of Baphomet's pit of vipers. Their den was a cradle of sin and filth. They cast spells on each other, and their loathsome fantasies stepped real from their minds into the world. They dreamt of horrible and forbidden things, and they fought like mad. We burned the place to the ground and slaughtered everyone we could, but the leaders of the cult were able to flee, and they were set upon revenge. They abducted my daughter, Lori, who served under my command in the Pathfinder Society. They left me a note full of tart insults, mockery, and sneers. From that note, I learned the name of my enemy, the Spinner of Nightmares. A few months later, I confirmed that she was the leader of the Labyrinth of Mind. My hunt had begun. I would get Lori back at any cost. Hilor grits his teeth with bulldog determination. I want to know more about you. What exactly are you interested in? I am a common Pathfinder. There are many others like me. Fate and my orders brought me to this land. How did you end up here? I was working on assignment for the Pathfinder Society, and then a demon worshipper named the Spinner of Nightmares abducted my daughter Lori. For the past 3 years, I've been trying to save her. During this time, I've become a specialist in scouting demon territory. I've even planted agents among the cultists. Truth be told, in pursuing the Spinner of Nightmares, I've been acting more on behalf of Queen Galfrey than the Pathfinder Society. It's a long story. Maybe I'll tell you the rest of it sometime. Hilor frowns grimly. This Spinner of Nightmares is a true spawn of the Abyss. I've fought her many times, but I've never been able to seize her by the throat. Tell me about your daughter. Hilor smiles, showing his healthy white teeth. As a girl, Lori was just an angel. We lost her mother early on. She was left to follow my example, a drifter with little idea how to talk to a 10-year-old girl. But even with such questionable parenting, Lori managed to grow up into a wonderful girl. Brave, smart, beautiful, and entirely unbearable. She's always argued with me about everything. When Lori was 18 and told me she was going to be a Pathfinder, all I said was, all right. I knew there was no use to try and talk her out of it, and she was a fine Pathfinder. Hilor's fists clenched with a painful-sounding crack. I'll never forgive the Spinner of Nightmares for taking my girl from me. Tell me about the Pathfinder Society. The Pathfinder Society is a global organization that unites opportunists and adventurers of all kinds. We explore the world and uncover its secrets, travel, and sometimes face down threats. In times of trouble, the latter becomes our primary focus. We're driven by curiosity and the desire to make the world a better place. And of course, some seek profit or hunger for glory. But in any case, it's hard work. They might send you anywhere on a mission. Weaklings have little place in the society. It's for more seasoned fighters. There are society lodges in many cities. The closest one is in Neurosian. They're each led by venture captains, lads like me. The Grand Lodge is in Absalom, the center of the world. The Decemvirate sits there. The anonymous council of our leaders. I have no more questions. If you have any questions, come to me. I need brave and experienced fighters. You can rely on my lads, but you'll have to pay them. 4,500 is their standard rate. I don't have that kind of money right now. I'm sorry, but the Society has established universal rates to avoid competition between Pathfinders of different countries. I have to go. Good luck. Watch your back. Only trust your closest friends. The enemy is cunning and treacherous. So we can hire Hilor on for 4,500. And we have almost just enough to do that, but not get any gear whatsoever. Or did I buy gear last episode? I don't remember. I do want to see what's down in the basement. But let's talk to Irabeth. Well, we kind of talked to Irabeth already, didn't we? Let's, I think we did, actually. Let's quick save. Irabeth rubs her red and tired eyes. Any success? How's the city? What is our main objective? You heard what the demon said. They're going to desecrate the Wardstone and blow up the whole barrier around the World Wound. Oh, we already went over this, guys. I don't know why it's not grayed out. But anyway, That would be an even worse disaster than the World Wound's expansion before the Second Crusade. Not only Canabras, but every city with a ward stone would be destroyed, including the capital. We can't allow that no matter what. We will retake it, even destroy it if we must. Iomede's gift must not become a weapon of the abyss. Yeah, I asked her what the ward stones are, a few personal questions. Frowning a little, Irabeth nods. Please, but I must warn you, there are some things I don't have the right to discuss. Where are you from? I was born in Canabras. I grew up on a farm just outside it, but my way back home lay at the end of a long and winding road. It took me years of traveling through foreign lands before I came to be where I've always belonged. How did you become a paladin? A bitter smile appears on the half-orc's face. I don't much like to remember it. Believe it or not, the story of how I became a paladin is also the story of how I failed to become a knight. My parents were crusaders, may their souls stand together in Iomede's celestial army. When I was born, they retired from the war and started preparing me to continue their legacy, but my father was an orc. You'd be pressed to find a calmer, wiser, and more pious servant of the goddess than he. But still, all his life he was dogged by sideways looks and whispers. Whew. When I grew older, and it was time for me to serve, I decided anywhere but Canabras. That was where my father had served loyally, and his only reward had been injustice. Besides, the witch hunters, led by the Honorable Prelate Horun, stalked the city with a heavy hand. Who knows what they'd have done to a strange girl with green skin? Instead I went to... A smirk that looks more like a painful grimace crosses her face. You can laugh if you want, but I was young and foolish. I chose Lastwall of all places. You can imagine how well I was accepted in a country that's been battling the orcs of Belkzen since its foundation. Oh no. Stalk the city. Oh, the Mendavian witch hunts. So we know about Horun. He was he was the person in charge of those, but of these, the Mendavian witch hunts. During the First Crusade, holy warriors streamed into Mendev, where they encountered Sarkorians practicing their unique druidic faith. The Crusaders mistook the wooden idols and rustic rituals for evidence of demonic influence. Groups of witch hunters emerged from the disorganized chaos of the First Crusade. These witch hunters were often self-styled, their tactics little more than brutal trial and error. The least bit of evidence could mark a target for investigation, a clubbed foot, a thick accent, or even a suspicious absence of abnormalities. The witch hunter groups gained reputations for being cruel and arbitrary, although these weren't always deserved. Demons ranged freely across the World Wound, and often spilled into Mendev. Demonic possession did happen, though not nearly as often as the witch hunters claimed. Genuine witch hunters used divination magic and cautious investigation to draw out and destroy fiends, but they were rare compared to the zealous inquisitors who burned innocents at the stake. With the advent of the Fourth Crusade, the authorities took strong measures to end the bloody witch hunts of Mendev. Since then, the frequency of hunts has dropped considerably. Well, that's good, but yeah, pretty wicked stuff. And the orcs of Belkzen? While orcs can be found throughout Galarion, nowhere else are they as plentiful or live in as densely populated settlements as in the hold of Belkzen. Belkzen is an unforgiving wasteland filled with shrub bush, steep mountains, and uneven badlands, where water is scarce and generally limited to the seasonal flood road. There were many there like me, but we were all treated as second-class citizens. To the locals, my green skin was worse than leper scabs. Even my brothers in faith kept their distance. I took my vows, and the goddess granted me the powers of a paladin, but even then, not a single order would accept me into their ranks. I spent another 6 months knocking on doors before I realized a simple truth. I serve Iomede, not these people. I don't have to prostrate myself before them, so I left as a paladin, but not a knight. Iomede, the Lady of Valor, Justice, and Honor. Things are bound to be tough for your kind, too. You belong to two different races, but neither is willing to embrace you as one of their own. but at least relations between humans and elves aren't poisoned by centuries of mutual hatred. Right, we are a half-elf. How did you come to join a knightly order? I left last fall and went traveling. The goddess guided me, and my path led me to where atrocities were happening. I often fought in exchange for gold, but never for unworthy aims, of course. I wandered the river kingdoms for a few years, killing monsters and tracking down criminals. Sometimes I thought I was just wasting time, that my true place was in Canabras. But I pushed those thoughts away. I didn't even want to think about going back. But in the end, divine providence had brought me to my senses. So again, the river kingdoms have long been a haven for inland pirates, anarchists, exiles, and anyone who could not seem to make it. In more civilized nations, the kingdoms are by no means a unified nation, but rather a constantly shifting group of city-states and fiefdoms, each at war with the others, both to gain more power and prevent their own demise. The river kingdoms are located in the marshy lowlands of the Seelah River Basin, where its three branches combine in their journey south to the inner sea. There are few roads throughout the land, and the branching web of the Seelah and its tributaries provide the primary means of transportation through and within the region. And of course, we know Canabras. It happened in Taimon. I was tracking a gang of bandits, which my employer suspected was a cover for Rasmiran spies. I managed to find their lair, but inside I found something far more dangerous than spies, an unholy temple to Zon Kutan. When I broke in there, the cultists were about to sacrifice someone, the person who was destined to become my wife, Anevia, but that's another story. Again, Rasmiran spies. The realm known as Rasmiran was once just another turbulent, violent river kingdom, the Archduchy of Melkat, where leadership changed as often as the years. This ended in 4661 when the land was conquered by Rasmir, a tyrant claiming to have ascended to godhood. And Zon Kuthon is not a nice person, also known as the Midnight Lord, the Dark Prince, and the Prince of Pain, god of darkness, envy, loss, and pain, possesses one of the most twisted and evil minds in the Great Beyond. His position as god of pain is well earned, and he has been the root of countless tortures, murders, and worse throughout time. He was once a benevolent demigod named Dao Brawl, but was corrupted when he traveled to the far dark places between the planes and returned in his current form. His half-sister, Shaylin, still holds out hope that she can redeem him, though the Lord of Shadows shows no sign of remorse or compassion. After I cut down the cultists, I examined their papers and couldn't believe my eyes. A network of evil cults had spread through all of Avestan, including Mendev. Worse, the documents clearly showed that their allies, the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth, had infested my native Canabras and were even among the ranks of the Paladins. After that, delaying my homecoming would be tantamount to desertion. Luckily, I was no longer alone. Anevia was as eager to destroy the cultists as I was. So this is new. The Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth. Pledging their lives to Baphomet, these cultists schemed to subvert the good works of the Crusaders. They caused trouble in Crusader camps, instigating fights and egging participants on to greater violence. They spread lies and sowed the seeds of fear with voices sweetened by magic. Some even have assumed the roles of holy crusaders and risen in the ranks of other knightly orders, waiting for the moment when their treachery can be used to achieve a most foul end. Wow, gotta look out for them. Aneve and I hurried to Canabras. We couldn't trust anyone. The papers indicated that the cultists had infiltrated everything. Luckily, I had some experience in investigation, and my beloved, the half-orc smiles warmly, she knew her way around working locks, tailing people, and trading information with the city's bottom feeders. Soon we defeated, alas, not the whole Hydra, but a few of its heads. Do you know who turned out to be the leader of the cultists? The commander of the Eagle Watch. Wow. Can you imagine? While Prelate Holrun was chasing witches through the city, the enemy had infiltrated the very order responsible for internal security. The scandal reached the ears of the Queen. At first she planned to disband the order in disgrace, but then she offered its command to me and put its salvation in my hands. Of course, there was one small catch. I wasn't a knight. but I was made commander just the same, skipping the usual progression through the ranks. Lore religion check passed. I can't imagine the followers of Zon Kuthan in alliance with demon worshippers. Shouldn't they hate each other? They should, but Baphomet's minions are masters of deception. They manipulate Zon Kuthan's butchers as eagerly as Iomede's knights. The cultists from that unholy temple didn't know the true face of their associates in Canabras. We ourselves learned the truth much later after getting to the bottom of their nest. Baphomet's minions, the demons. How do the people of Canabras feel about your background? They tolerated it surprisingly well. I shouldn't have been so wary. Crusaders don't tend to be prejudiced as a rule. After all, heroes from all over the world, even from other continents, come here to fight the demons. Apparently the people were only suspicious of full-blooded orcs. There were already many like me here, and we don't have any problems. Though the locals do have their superstitions. Bendev is as merciless as Lastwall. They just have a different set of victims. I kept seeing those same sideways looks and scowls, hearing their familiar whispers. But where once they used to whisper behind my back and point at me, now they whisper in my ear and point at someone else. It's so strange to be on the other side of humiliation, to wipe the spit from your face and suddenly be invited to change position and spit at someone else. You must have figured out by now that I'm talking about tieflings. It's true there are many of them among the cultists and few among our crusaders, and our fighters do all they can to drive away those who would be our allies. People shun them, call them a Relu spawn or worse, as if they chose to be born like that. I believe it's quite a feat to rise against the call of one's blood and join the forces of good. Still, most only see them as the enemy. I once saw a knight bleeding to death because he wouldn't let a tiefling priest touch his wound. Alas, I haven't been able to change this in all my time in Canabras. Wow, tieflings are not looked upon fondly. Tell me about Anevia. We met in Taimon as I was wandering aimlessly from one ordeal to another. We returned to Canabras together to expose the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth. The day the Queen knighted me was the second happiest day of my life. The first was the day of our wedding. But Anevia isn't just my beloved, she's my staunchest ally. We share every victory and defeat. The best of me is alive thanks to her. Thank you for saving her back then, the day Canabras fell. Before her return, the only thing giving me the strength to protect the Defender's heart was the hope that I'd see her again. We are in your debt. Thank you for your answers. Irabeth nods without saying a word. Tell me about the Eagle Watch. I think she already did. Oh no, I don't think we learned about this. It was a small order created to fight not only demons but also the enemy within, to maintain the purity of the paladin ranks, prevent heresy, and identify spies. And it failed miserably at that. The Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth infiltrated it and formed their nest within its ranks. I need to take a drink of water, guys. I am feeling it here. Alright. After the Queen entrusted me with leading the order, Anevia and I practically built it from scratch. We got rid of dead weight, people who weren't committed. We organized ways to transmit messages and orders safely. We introduced reliable ciphers. We found tacit allies around the city, from crusader orders to street beggars. This was my personal crusade to purge the city of the Templars who had infested it. And I thought I was winning. I could feel it. We were so close to driving the cultists out of Canabras. But, Irabeth frowns, it's hard to admit, but those successes don't count for much once the demons had entered the city. On the contrary, if it wasn't for you, there wouldn't be a headquarters at the Defender's Heart. The cultists would have served up the city on a platter to the demons. The lines on Irabeth's forehead softened. Yes, that's true. It's a good thing we achieved something. Thank you. We already know about the ward stones, but... Alright, I have to go. Go. May Iomade keep you safe. Alright, that is everybody to talk to in here. Besides Pink Eye, who we just can't talk to. We've chopped it up with just about everyone. Oh, look at the kitty. Look at the kitty. Now, we can head to the basement rather than heading outside. But I think we have to probably end this episode, right? Oh, and I don't know if I'm going to save up the 4,500 to hire Hilor's man. That's probably better than buying some magical gear, but I don't know. I'll have to see. Let's see how long we've been playing. 35 minutes. Okay, well, Magdalar and I will take a quick peek into the basement. See what's down here. Okay, some guards. Delvin, someone new to talk to. Some treasure. Someone in jail, it looks like. Okay, lots going on here. Should probably
prepare.
Bust out an ever-burning torch. Check the loot. We've got a light shield. I'll take it. And a button behind or something. Loot. 2 scale mail. Nice. And a dart. Guards. How much longer can we hold out? A day? 2? Oh. Surrender thy soul, Delvin. Iomade, protect us. Ha ha ha, got you again. How many times is that today? Take your jokes and shove them, tiefling. Oh, that was actually pretty funny. Whoa, easy there, chief. Don't hit me. That was really funny. Oh my gosh. Surrender thy soul, Delvin. Okay, so this is a whole thing. That's funny. I hope he's a companion. Woljif, I will so take him on. What if Canabras isn't the only city overrun? What if this is how it all ends? We'll grab the loot, chainmail, and a light. Ooh, first time seeing a light hammer. 1d4 finesse weapon. I don't know if I want to get into this right now because it's almost the end of the episode, so let's just loot a little bit. 11 gold, silver powder, bottle of oil, animal hide. Old map of Aveston, scabbard, 6 coins, slimy skin. Can use to brew potions or scribe scrolls, and a tail sting. Nice. They're worth 35. Wow, things to push all over, it looks like. Caustic mold, crooked paw, 10 coins, and 8 coal. And outside, huh? First aid kit, 2 gold, rusty horseshoe, carved urn, another map. Yeah, like buttons everywhere. It's just places to interact everywhere. We'll get into this next episode, guys. We'll talk to Delvin and Woljif. So, I want to say thank you guys for joining me. That was still too funny. Oh, the tiefling. Wow, we definitely want to talk to them next time. So, do stay tuned, guys. Hope to see you then, and I hope you're enjoying this little let's play and whatnot, or let's try. If you are, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up or leave a comment. Those are 2 ways to let me know that you want to see more, and thus more will get made. But slight spoiler, there is more being made for sure, because this is a fantastic game thus far. Not just that it's fantastic, I play a lot of fantastic games, but just that I'm really in the mood to continue it. So Once again, sorry that my nose is completely blocked after all that reading, but it's just something that happens. So, yeah, successful episode 30. I hope to see you guys next time. Do come back, and if you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe if you'd like. And yeah, much more fun to come next time with Wrath of the Righteous. So, peace out for now. Much love, peace, and joy, and be well, stay well, and live well. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.